This is a very simple question to ask, ladies and gentlemen. When the Steele dossier was published by a left-leaning publication, it was unverified, and it had been used to begin an investigation. And it was public record knowledge that it was not classified, and it was public record knowledge that it had been purchased by Madam Secretary Clinton, who, I'm telling you, there was another gaffe today where Botox B tells a group of young women, "I'll be back in 4 years to watch you dance." So this is bizarre, very bizarre. Of course, that was in the New York Post, okay? Biden makes eyebrow-raising comment at campaign stop in Miami. You better believe that no one in media is going to cover this. The New York Post does, because it leans a little bit, more conservative. But really, really quickly, I'm sorry, Biden said he was shuffled backward, regaining his thoughts, and his wife had to pull him. Joe Biden's wife had to pull the nominee away from reporters. His wife had to pull him aside because apparently, you have to read it. It was so bizarre. It was so bizarre. But anyway, Madam Secretary, that dorsal fin is not flipper. Circling around Biden, she will eventually replace Biden. You watch. And I don't care if it's the day before. I'm going to tell you this every single day. They go with Biden, they lose miserably. Or at least they don't get close enough to cheat. But President Trump is going 8 years, regardless. That's the biggest part of what I've always been saying. I wrote in 2017, Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. If that will happen, but if that doesn't happen, get ready for 8 years of Trump. That I've been saying not only in writing, but every single day. President Trump is going 8 years. So eventually, I'll be right about a major topic that in the entire media has basically, like 2016 stated, oh, well, that's it, Trump's losing, he's on the ropes. The polls are meaningless, but here, Trump Intel chief declassifies, John Brennan notes, and referral on unverified report about Clinton plan to create Trump-Russia scandal. And the notes say, at the direction of the President of the United States, I have declassified, this is John Ratcliffe, at the direction of the President of the United States, I have declassified the enclosed documents inclusive of redactions. These documents are responsive to ongoing congressional oversight and investigative requests. So, getting back to is, of course, I'm always sidetracked. Madam Secretary purchased the Steele dossier. She purchased the Steele dossier, and they still used it for an investigation. I want to know, with the hysteria in 2017, 2018, 2019, and still going on today, they kept focusing on the Steele dossier, so much so that they utilized it to investigate Carter Page and to set up and frame Michael Flynn and everyone else, in addition to George Papadopoulos and a meeting they set him up and framed him regarding. So, the Steele dossier was the biggest reason why everyone was so concerned about investigating Trump, and they always said it was unverified, but they still said it could be true. It could be true. We have to investigate. Oh my God, the sources were Russian one Russian intelligence official. This was, I think, Vanity Fair read an article. They put a lot of credibility and legitimacy and credence to the Steele dossier. Why now? And by the way, be here at 9 p.m. Pacific tonight. We have the best late evening live stream in all of YouTube. I might start doing 2 live streams a day in addition to an upload or a couple uploads. But I'm going to step up H.A. Goodman's other channel in addition to this one because things are heating up. But John Ratcliffe is saying this is not Russian in disinformation. So the Steele dossier literally was Russian disinformation, but they utilized it to foment this hysteria. It was unverified. It was purchased by Clinton and the DNC. Yet left-leaning publications latched onto it, celebrated it, and then eventually we learned it was complete. Well, I said from the very beginning it was complete and utter nonsense. But people lent so much credibility to it, and now they're saying, well, the Office of Director of National Intelligence, that's declassifying. So the Steele dossier was never classified. This has had to be declassified. So the ODNI chief declassified Brennan's notes today. And the first note was a September 2016 investigative referral from John Brennan to James Comey and Peter Strzok. And the second was Brennan's notes on July 2016 plan approved by Clinton. So this follows a letter from Ratcliffe, who oversees the nation's 17 spy agencies. So this is, okay, John Ratcliffe is today's James Clapper. James Clapper helped approve all of this and wrote in the ODNI report that they're highly to moderately confident that Russia hacked the election. But they don't know, they've never explained which Facebook ads swung voters in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. They haven't missed a beat, and it's 30 days before the election. There's no chance they win with Biden. Today's gaffe, go to the New York Post, okay? I know that people are like tired of it. By the way, if you want to support my voice and my wacky thought process, my Patreon is below. But go to the New York Post. Biden makes eyebrow-raising comment to young people at campaign stop in Miami. These were underage. I didn't want to talk about this because in the first couple minutes of the live stream of YouTube, you can't, okay, these are underage people. Okay, he was talking to underage people. Oh my God. Look, today, this is in the New York this is in the New York Post, okay? Just if you watch this long, tell people in the comment section to watch 7 minutes in. He's in Miami. This is good news. Okay, so he's watching young ladies dance. Okay, young women dance. Okay, these are underage people. And then he's saying, well, in 4 years, you'll be of age. So he goes, quote, this is 30 days before the election. No one's even covering this. The New York Post is, okay? The man is not going to win the presidency, if they were so inept as to go with him. There has to be something going on. And I've been saying forever, Clinton is just, the dorsal fin is not flipper. But here, quote, the good news is for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is I'm coming back. He said this today. He said, I'm coming back, and I want to see these beautiful young ladies. I want to see them dancing when they're 4 years older, too, he quipped to the crowd. Could you imagine if Trump said this? Oh, my God. The New York Times would talk about misogyny and sexism and, oh, my God, this perversion, oh, my God, this is an example of what Trump is doing, and his orangeness is altering all the good, and the ethicists have come out, and the scientists have come out, and everything. Oh, my God. Biden, who is known for frequently awkward comments. Okay, so, again, this is the New York Post. Nobody's making an issue of this. But anyway, let's get back to an even more interesting topic. So, this is what Brennan wrote. We're getting additional insight into Russian activities from redacted. Brennan wrote in 2 pages of almost entirely redacted handwritten notes. So there's nothing redacted in the Steele dossier. It's all nonsense. They literally paid for it and it wasn't classified. Yet they still used all of this they still use the Steele dossier as, proof positive that there was something going on that we had to investigate, that we had to talk about as a society. This is from the United States government, so then they're saying it's Russian disinformation. Well, who purchased this? I want to know who purchased this. It's unverified, yet it's you have to declassify something unverified. How does that work? James Clapper made the fact that the Steele dossier was not classified a cause celeb. He was so proud of it. He's like, well, it wasn't classified, so it's a problem. We had to use it. It was raw intelligence. Well, if that's raw intelligence, what is this? Cooked intelligence or less raw? What is this? So this is how does Putin filter through the Director of National Intelligence this information? Because we already know that Putin had a lot to do with the Steele dossier, at least in terms of disinformation. And it was purchased by Clinton. So you do the math on that one. Who worked with Russia? It wasn't Trump. It was literally Clinton purchasing a dossier riddled with Russian intelligence disinformation. The whole thing was nonsense. But here, we're getting additional insight into Russian activities from Redacted. Brennan wrote in two pages of almost entirely redacted handwritten notes. Cite alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 28th of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify. So cite, I'm not sure what cite means, but cite alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 28th of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. The rest of Brennan's notes are almost entirely blacked out. POTUS, a reference to President Obama, is written in the margin, followed by two redacted bullet points, and one point saying, quote, any evidence of collaboration between Trump campaign and Russia. And then James Clapper is also written in the margins. And then Dennis, a likely reference to then Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough, okay, is followed by Susan, a reference to Susan Rice. So then Brennan gets on CNN today and says, well, this is no evidence of this. And by the way, even if it's true, what's the problem? We're looking into potential collusion. Yeah, but there was no evidence of collusion. You wanted to look into it. It literally, the notes literally state, they say unverified. I don't exactly know why they say unverified when it's coming from the Director of National Intelligence. This is the bizarre thing. Breaking, Director of National Intelligence declassifies handwritten notes from Brennan. This is the Federalist. On Tuesday, the Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, declassified and released to Congress handwritten notes from former CIA Director John Brennan, as well as a CIA investigative referral to James Comey and Peter Strzok, requesting that they investigate Russian knowledge of Hillary Clinton's anti-Trump collusion smear operation. Top U.S. intelligence officials were so concerned heading into the 2016 election that the Russians were aware of and potentially manipulating Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's plans to smear Donald Trump as a Russian agent that they personally briefed President Obama on the matter, newly declassified. CIA officials also requested that the FBI investigate Russian knowledge of the Clintons' campaign collusion. Okay, so the other set of notes or other notes or the notes themselves deal with the fact that Russia knew that of Clinton's attempts at trying to paint Trump. So they're so underhanded and duplicitous. Newly declassified handwritten notes from former CIA Director John Brennan show that the U.S. intelligence community knew in 2016 that Russian intelligence was actively monitoring and potentially injecting disinformation into Clinton's anti-Trump collusion narrative. So the intelligence concerning Russia's knowledge of Clinton's campaign plans was so concerning to Brennan. And so this is hilarious. This is really interesting. So our intelligence services found out that the Russians were aware that Clinton was trying to paint Trump as a Russian puppet. It's so absurd that Putin and the Russian intelligence officials are like probably laughing. It actually helps them because it creates the chaos and mayhem and undermines trust in our institutions. And these are the people who talk about, like, when was undermining trust in our institutions ever a legitimate or rational talking point? Institutions should never have anyone's trust, whether they're especially not government institutions. You should always, if there's any question as to legitimacy or wrongdoing, investigate, look into, ask questions, find evidence of wrongdoing within any institution, whether it's a corporation or a government body. It doesn't matter. This notion that these alleged norms should be revered when Democrats don't revere them themselves. They fabricated an entire Trump-Russian myth And they're the ones who presided over 20% of U.S. uranium capacity being sold to Putin, where only, according to Snopes, the Bible of Democrats, only President Obama could have vetoed the sale. So according to Snopes, the Bible of Democrats, only President Obama could have vetoed the sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity. So I want to know, and then you have, then you have Uranium One officials pumping money into the Clinton Foundation, and then Uranium One was eventually purchased by Putin through Rosatom. So I don't understand, like, how people, like, when you tell people, see, this is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Here, the notes appear to have prepared by Brennan to memorialize the meeting held at the White House with the president as top national security advisors. Included in Brennan's notes are responses of other participants in the briefing, including Susan Rice, Dennis McDonough. Oh, okay, gotcha. So, at one point, President Obama asked whether there was any evidence of collaboration between Trump and the campaign, but any response that may have been recorded in Brennan's notes is redacted. Well, that shouldn't be redacted, but because there was Mueller found nothing, and there was none, so that's bizarre. And then Ratcliffe wouldn't. I mean, it probably is. Well, based on information we know from NSA, something like that. Absolutely not, something like that. Of course, Democrats will be like, "Oh, it's redacted because it's the truth." It's like, no, Ratcliffe is not going to introduce this to the public if it's not okay. John Ratcliffe is introducing this to the public because it harms and hurts Democrats. Why? Because it shows their corruption. They're talking about fearing that Russia knew about their plans to set up Trump. Moreover, Brennan and other intelligence chiefs also suspected early that many key claims underpinning the collusion narrative could themselves be the product of deliberate Russian disinformation. So they all knew this was Russian disinformation. They all knew that any fear, because look, wow, an exchange redacted discussing U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections as a means of distracting the public from her use of private email server. Well, of course it was. That's what I was talking about that a long time ago. I was mentioning, like, that this is all a smokescreen to get away from their involvement, their scandals, their involvement with Russia, their email server scandal. The whole look. All throughout President Obama's tenure, you had massive cyber attacks, and during those cyber attacks, you had Clinton with private servers. Okay, what do you think happened? The entire planet, almost certainly, I say almost because I'm being generous, and the apoplectic fact checkers are seething and fuming as always. Almost certainly, hacked everything and knew everything they were going to do. And you have all of these people saying, we don't have evidence. This is exactly what the handwritten notes from Brennan, and we don't have evidence, but we have to look into it. And this is actually the first time you hear top FBI and top intelligence chiefs talking about Hillary Clinton as part of the process. Sorry, you can't have Trump's direct political rival as part of any process to investigate him. They are literally guilty of everything they've ever said. They impeached Trump for trying to strong arm a foreign leader, which the foreign leader himself, President Zelensky, stated was not strong armed. He was not leveraged. He was not forced to do anything. And they impeached Trump on trying to interfere in the election. They're the ones who interfered in the 2016 election, even before the election, as a backup plan to save face. This is all about saving face, and they truly believe it. This is the thing. When you talk to somebody, a Democrat, don't do it, because this lack of like admitting reality, that'll go, because they're going to lose the election. They're on the way to losing. Okay, the polls that you see are like 800 Democrats, 200 Republicans, and the Republicans don't like Trump, and it's 1,000 people polled, and the majority women. Democratic Party women. So what do you think Trump's going to do in those polls? They're public relations ploys. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. This is an amazing, marvelous revelation, and give me your thoughts below. It just gets better. I am thinking of doing another live stream, so I have my tradition at 9 p.m. Pacific, and I'm trying to think of the best time, so I can, continue with the tradition of just everybody there knowing, because my uploads, nobody knows when they go up, but everyone knows at 9 p.m. Pacific, I have a live stream. So I want to think of a time that's good for everybody. Give me some thoughts below of a time in the day, Pacific time, that would be good for you. Give me your thoughts. Thank you. Be here at 9 p.m. Pacific, everyone. Thank you.